also have a new one of these and a new one of these because we don't know which one it is. Let's go look. Here at the House of Bad Lighting, we always do our best to drive the camera and the audience crazy. What have we here? We have the screw in the end, not the center. That one's in the center, that one's in the end. This is our chosen one. It's all mashed and mangled. Just what I need. Die! Now that rod position is significantly different. This one puts the rod all the way to the top, so as it gets warm, pulls it down, which is off. And this one, just about all the way to the bottom. So when it got hot, it could only go that far. Well, it's not that so much as it wouldn't close the choke tight, but tightly we will be. Must use steel plate. This just ain't right. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. This is gonna mess up my whole plan here. Man, it just doesn't. Just don't like it. But I guess that's what I got. Well, I guess we'll get everything in place. Well, here's hoping this thing works. Well, the choke coil thing, that is. Yeah, it's all bound up. Man. I don't like it. I don't like it. So the choke should snap shut when you open the throttle. But alas, it does not. This should be pulling down with a great deal of tension, and it is. Why? Why? Man, it is so tight. What is preventing that from going all the way back? That don't sound right. No. So this is bound. Piece of homemade linkage rod. So now I gotta figure this thing out. When you open the throttle, choke should snap shut. Okay. But this wants to be in a bind. It doesn't want to come open. What's it going to do when it warms up? Okay. Okay, well here's hoping that's going to stay where it is. Let's connect the fuel line before we tighten the carburetor down. Click, click. These don't take a whole lot, you know. Click. And click. I don't know how many I've seen with these just completely chewed out of them. I understand it's a 5/16 bolt, but look at what you're trying to compress here. You're not trying to keep it from jumping off the intake manifold under an explosion. Okay, things to do. Tighten fuel filter. That's plenty. Tighten fuel line while opposing fuel filter. Click. PCV line. Vacuum advance. That's already on. Choke is done. There is no rear vacuum port. Kick down linkage. Well, throttle valve too. Shift points. Transmission linkage. Throttle linkage. Throttle return spring. Do not use your spring for your cotter pin. Okay, we're on the high idle for the choke, which I'm not going to check as far as the RPM goes. So we have the potential for some flooding. In case I got something wrong or there's a bit of debris. Oh, scary. Scary. Well, I knew this was about out of gas. There's nothing overflowing. The choke's good and tight, that's for sure. That shouldn't be that way. Don't know what I'm going to do about it. That's just unbelievably tight. There's no fuel up there. Guess I need to get that clip on there. Alright, we got no fuel. We've been parked on a hill. It was just about out of gas when I parked it. And this is the non-ethanol. I don't know what octane that is. Oh, I'm glad it gets lighter as it goes. Oh. That's about 3 gallon. Let's go grind the starter some more. Forgot to do this. Yeah, see, now it's bound again. Ten seconds at a time. I don't want to get the bottle and fill the fuel bowl. I don't want to. Now, in the meantime, I'm going to work on this choke. Well, let's take care of this annoying little bugger right away. Didn't have another clip. But now I got one. Well, you thing, you. I can't see the groove. That must be it. Alright. That annoying disturbance out of the way. On to the next annoying disturbance. See, it's trying to, when I do that, it's trying to lift straight up. And if it was out here, held by the aluminum housing, it would bind against that. So if we have an aluminum housing, and that is able to ride against the rod, which it does not. I was hoping the rod would ride against the side of this and prevent it from popping out on the bottom, but such is not the case. Try making a tighter angle on this. See what that does. Which way does that force it? Well, that worked. Okay, it's not walking. It did bind. So with the fuel line off, all my fuel drained back to the tank. It's just about empty. I'm going to grind a lot more out of that starter than I want to. I think I'm going to put this back together. And then I'll grab the bottle and fill the fuel bowl. I'd really like to have this running today. My mustard bottle done sprung a hole in it. This has a gauge on it. Well, I gauge that to be about enough to start and run. After the air compressor shuts off, of course. just beautiful. Always hope to find some simple little bit of debris or something instead of something major. It's always perfect when you can't see anything. It didn't leak before. Well now, it appears when I did my soaking, I didn't allow it to soak long enough because there's still some of that flaky pitty rust down there on that seat. Well, the dust was rather telling, wasn't it? It looks nicely polished from here. Yeah, give it another go. Why are you doing that? Oh yeah. Oh, that's much more better. Get rid of those vice grip tracks. Eyes! Click. Oh, more loveliness. Click. Let's see what happens. That's working like it's supposed to. Oh, what am I going to do now? Dare not go any further. Oh, I really hate to cut this line. It looks so wonderfully wonderful. There's nothing I can see in here. There's nothing I can see or feel in here. It didn't leak before it got taken apart. Maybe I've embedded some rust in here. I can't get my face down in there to see it. Yeah. When I squished down on the thing, it made the impression of the rust. Doggone it. How do I polish that? A stone, some lapping compound, something like that. A heavy rubbing compound. You can see right here the pits, because the rust was on that edge and I clamped it down, and so it mashed little pits into the mating surface. I want to polish those out, and the only way to do it is to bring the rest of the surface down to the surface of the bottoms of the pits. So we'll use our cloth and our almost perfect angle drill bit. Well, that went through the cloth pretty quick. By golly, it's working. It's new. There you go. Yes. Oh, is it close enough to try? I'm not going to go any further with it. I'm just going to put it on and give it a test. See what happens. Okay, this is snug. Well, a little bit tighter than snug. It's a little flooded. Oh! Now that's coming from between the gaskets. Hey, I fixed the fuel line. That's a win. Unless it's squirting out there toward the base of the carburetor. I ain't never seen that before in my life. I bet I know where it's coming from. Well, let's find this together, shall we? Accelerator pump? Holy moly! There's a big hole back there. What's that all about? Of course I have to take all this off to get to it. Now I gotta pull that carb. Because I gotta find out where that thing goes. I ain't never seen nothing like that before in my life. Look at the size of that thing. Alright, so here's what we got. We got a lead plug right there. And I checked another carburetor. It's got the same type of thing going on. Oh, I gotta come up with a piece of lead. I could put a screw in there. I could tap it and put a screw in. Put fuel compatible Loctite on it. Or I can make a lead plug. It never ends. It just never ends. How to make a lead plug for a carburetor. Number one, start with some lead. Clean it up nice and shiny on one end. Next, play blacksmith. And you don't need a forge. It's got to be tapered. The hole we want to plug is the size of a number 8 screw. It must be conical in shape as to facilitate a wedging action upon driving it into the hole. This is a number 10 screw because it's what I happen to have close by. This is about 1/4 inch. I suppose I should walk over somewhere and get a number 8, but I got a few minutes yet. Been pretty close. This end now fits into the bore. I'm using a crosscut file because it'll grip it whilst I put downward pressure on it. So it's nice and round. It's pretty round. Fits into the bore nicely. I'm sure to get lead poisoning from this. Every file mark is a place for a leak. Switching to our next roller. Getting flakes. Well, this isn't perfectly flat. This is flatterer. I'm thinking maybe. So the bowl is resting upon that square stock, and the throttle linkage is what's preventing it from going anywhere. But driving it in, the force will be taken on here. That's the best angle I can get. Oh, I see there's a little step on it. I also see there's a little passage that you can't see from there. So there's a wee bitty little passage right in there. It goes up that way, and the direction of that bore goes over to the bottom of the accelerator pump well. I'll show you on this one. Alright, so accelerator pump well. There's where the check ball goes. And there's a passage that runs across, which is where that is, the plug. That little passage I can see is the one that goes up to the accelerator pump nozzle. That means this plug won't work in its current configuration because I made it to go down in there, and then I was going to drive her home, cut it off. So now, see, now you can see that passage. And you see the step. So the plug should only be that deep. So what I think I can do is hammer some lead about that thickness. Find a punch. Let me go find a punch. Alright, so I have a punch with a tip this big. Fits perfectly inside that hole. I have a punch with a tip this big, just to the outside, which is exactly what we want. So I think I'll make me a little button of lead, a little bit thicker than that. Use the small punch to get it set in the hole, the larger punch to drive it down flat. I don't know what they did at the factory. Alright, gonna make me a button. Not gonna do it on camera. Well, okay, as long as I can do it without having to move the carburetor. If it's not centered up in the frame, I don't care. I've missed supper fooling with this thing. I'll say, magnetism shouldn't be a problem. Centering it up in that hole, Mike. Ooh, wow. Look at that. Here's hoping. Time to test. First, the no pressure test. I also found that the rust I had to clean out of here was also on the other side, which is where the gasket is for the fuel filter that seals up against it. So that wasn't allowing the gasket to seal, which would allow little itty bitty bits of debris to pass through. So that's all cleaned up, all back together, all the fuel delivery cleaned out, blown out, and now we're testing our leaks. Testing for leaks on our lead plug. So with the accelerator pump going in, if you push down on this, it wants to squirt the fuel out of the two accelerator pump passages here. So we block those off as much as we can. Well, that shot up over the top, so makes it a little difficult to see. Great. Carb cleaner is more volatile than gasoline. Put it under pressure. See, I'm compressing the spring. No leaks! That was a good demonstration of how an accelerator pump works. Let's just take advantage of that. So if I plug off my two accelerator pump passages, the piston is not going down, and you see the spring compressing. So if I remove my fingers from those, then the piston goes down. And that is how that works. Your accelerator pump lesson for the day. Choke was fully open. Cold engine, tension on the choke. Open the throttle. Choke goes all the way closed. I got little squirts of fuel coming out of the accelerator pumps. I have no leak over here. Engine starts, applies vacuum, pulls off the choke, prevents the air valves from opening on the secondary. Also because of this linkage right here, prevents the secondary throttle plates from opening. This delays the opening of the air valves. Engine warms up, spring tension comes off, open the throttle, choke opens up, pulls this, drops away from the secondaries, so now that can open. But the air valves can't open until, they can, I mean barely, you take the vacuum off. Alright, there's your 4MV lesson for today. Okay, I put the old choke coil back in. Just don't like that new one. Way too much tension. Probably take forever for the choke to come off. Don't trust it. And I think with having everything cleaned and set to factory specs, maybe this one will work. It already worked. Perhaps it will function better. Back at it again. Okay, just using the open end part of the wrench. Click. Only snug it down that far. Let's see. Distributor's on, fuel line's in. Choke linkage is hooked up. If we do this, it seems to close just fine. Oh, I noticed something. Throttle return spring. I need to get another one. Redundant return springs are a beautiful thing. Kick down linkage, PCV valve. Yeah, it's all ready to turn the key and see what happens. Now that's what's supposed to happen. That's what's supposed to happen. I just wanted to snug it with the wrench, see how well it works. Through proper torquing, eliminated the problem, or eliminated the leak. We'll let it come up to operating temperature. Come back here so you can hear how quiet it is. Then we'll take a trip to the tailpipe. No clever editing. Listen to that. That is a beautiful, beautiful thing. Show you something else. You recall that heat riser is making all the rattling noise? Yeah, a little bit, but nothing like it was. Gotta tighten those valve covers. Uh-oh. Slowing down. What's going on? Acts like it's running out of gas. Shouldn't be. It's running out of gas. Oh no. Well, I knew it was gonna. No surprise. You're not supposed, it's not. I understand it's a 5/16 bolt, but why? Why? Why are you doing this to me? As far as the RPM goes. as far as the RPM goes. Okay, so we have the potential for, we have the potential for some flooding.
What's the matter?
Camera's rolling.
Yeah. So you gonna say something
No, just waiting for you to.
to get out of here?
Wow, I wouldn't put it like that. That was a fine time for my light to start acting up on me. Enter the cup brush. Why, the cup brush is not tightened enough in the chuck. You can see, as soon as I can get this in the frame. Great.